us all together. Lord, we gather in your name as children of a sovereign God. Forever we proclaim, to God be all glory.
Well, good morning. How you doing? It is Wednesday, April 16th, 2025. Welcome to episode 291 of the Thinking Theologian as we continue our journey through the scriptures. So today we read 1 Kings 10 and 11. The title of today is Expect Challenges when you do well spiritually. The focal scriptures in 1 Kings 10:1, and this is what it says. The queen of Sheba heard about Solomon's fame connected with the name of the Lord and came to test him with difficult questions. So success invites challenge. I've seen this in the sporting world and I've seen it in the church world. What happens is that the person or the organization that is doing everything correct will be challenged by others to see if the success is real. Or they'll be challenged to try and tear them down. So you'll get challenges because you're doing well and people want to see, okay, is this what's really going on? Or you get people who don't want to see you succeed and will try to tear you down. It's one of the two. And so the more successful you are, that's the way it goes. It doesn't matter if it's business, personal, or life. Obviously, you have some people in life that will try to encourage you and build you up. But there are many people who want to tear you down because they don't like to see success because they feel like it takes away from them and reminds them of their failures. And I could be wrong on that. A lot of that's anecdotal evidence. The evidence I've seen of how people usually treat other people who are successful in what they do. And so doing things the right way and having success makes many people jealous, which in turn makes them look for ways to try and knock that person down. This happened to me personally. There was one place I was at before that I was around that every time I was complimented and somebody complimented me in front of this other person, they would in turn come back later and try to tear me down because of things that are going on. The reason I know that is that the people would tell me, hey, I said something to so-and-so about what you're doing and what's going on, and we're noticing things and what's taking place. And they're like, we're all very complimentary of things you were doing and how you were handling things. And then immediately within the next day or two, the person that was told that would come and try to just rip me apart. Another one. Now they didn't know I knew that people were building me up and complimenting me, but this person had a pattern of doing it every single time it happened. Every single time. It wasn't even a doubt. But that's what people do. When they see you have success and they're not having success, they will try to tear you down, and that's how people operate. And so in today's reading, Queen of Sheba came to test Solomon. She wanted to see if the wisdom was real. Hear about Solomon's wisdom, wanted to see if it was real. She came loaded with questions. And I'm sure she thought for days on how she would trip up Solomon. Hey, this question is going to get him, this scenario, this problem. The questions were probably very difficult and tricky. And I'm not saying they weren't. However, he answered them all well and showed her that God was with him. This victory led to great wealth and fame. She gave him treasures for what happened. She was very impressed with him. And so he handled that test very well. But notice here also in the same reading, so he was tested in wisdom wise, but he was also tested in statutes of the Lord, and he failed this test. So unfortunately, Solomon was also tested again and failed. He began to disobey the Lord and took on many wives that turned his heart from the Lord. He violated the Lord's command. In all his wisdom, he missed a simple instruction. So he answered all these difficult questions from the Queen of Sheba. But the one thing he knew he wasn't supposed to do, he decided to do anyway, is take on wives from foreign lands because of the concern of them turning his heart towards other gods. And that's exactly what happened. And so he missed that simple instruction. So Solomon's fall didn't come from not answering questions, but from not applying God's standard to his life. And so he answered all the hard questions, but didn't apply what he was doing. And so many believers do that. They can answer questions and do activities and do things, but they don't apply what the Bible teaches. And what the Bible teaches is for us to love the Lord, our God, with all our heart, our mind, soul, and strength, love others the same, and do what he asks us to do. It's not that we're a religion based on works, but our works demonstrate our faith. And so when he asks us to live a certain way and behave a certain way and do this, is to protect us and to build us up and to grow us in maturity. And when people don't do that, it demonstrates that we're not as mature as we think we are. So the challenge for us as believers to understand that our biggest battles will come from a place we are not expecting. Solomon thought the Queen of Sheba was going to be the big battle. His actual big battle was not marrying all these other women and having his heart turned to other gods. So Solomon was ready for difficult questions. He just wasn't ready for practical application. He lost sight of the expectation. He lost sight of God. So the same can happen to us when we are successful. We can do all the big things right, but if we're not careful, our hearts can get turned. Then we'll end up worshiping what we shouldn't. That's exactly what happened with Solomon. So that will lead to idol worship and consequences for us and even those around us in our lives. So the fall of most successful people are not from the big decisions that everyone sees. It is the small decisions that lead to an avalanche of pain and destruction. And so most leaders make the big decisions fairly well. It's all the little things, how you treat people, how you handle disagreements, how you handle people not agreeing with things that you want to say and do. It handles with, how do you respond to people when things don't go your way? Are you gracious in defeat? Do you build people up? Like, there's just so many different ways that little decisions make a bigger impact than the bigger decisions. So what I hope you take away from today's reading is that we will all be challenged. All of us will be. The enemy and our human enemies will poke around to find our weakness. This is why we must always be ready for battle and keep our hearts and minds focused on God. And so I hope you see that we need to be ready for what God intends for us. But the more successful we are and the deeper we grow in our faith with God, the more challenge we're going to have from Satan, our enemy, but also from other people around us, because we remind them of where they want to be and when they're not. And so that when they're not there, they're going to come and try and attack us. Happens all the time, happens to all types of people. It's happened to me personally, and even other people I know. And so be encouraged today that the more you grow in your faith, expect more challenges to come. And that's a good thing, a positive thing. Not saying we should enjoy all the things we go through and how things got in place, but we should find some happiness, biblical joy, and that we're being tested because of our faith and what we're doing. So, and God knows we can handle it. So thank you for being with us today. Tomorrow we'll be in 1 Kings 12-14.